A pleasant day to everyone. This group will be deliberating about the Sophie's World novel. To begin this discussion, each one of us should state our evaluation and critique towards the assigned literature. I'd like to ask Kairos, our leader, to express his view before us.
The book was good as it captivates you into its world with ease. You instantly get hooked on the adventures of Sophie in the book, learning about philosophers and their teachings as you read more. When the book opens and the letter started writing, I knew that the book would be a great read. The concept was great and the teachings even better. The best thing about the book, in my opinion, was the ending, since it threw a big curveball and into the most superstitious themes, which I did not mind but appreciated. I can't really critique the book harshly since I enjoyed every second of reading it. The essence of this book was already a 9 out of 10 read. The next one to save your evaluation and critique is Bea.
My conclusion about the general content of Sophie's World is that it is quite overwhelming at first, because in the book, Sophie is constantly receiving a lot of lessons from Albert Knox about the philosophical history. As I was reading about Sophie, learning topics ranging from early thinkers to the existentialism of the 20th century, it seemed like I was acquiring this new knowledge along with her. The plot of the novel gets more interesting as each page passed, and the history being tackled gets heavier. Evaluating the plot itself, the twist in the middle of the story was impressively unexpected. As a reader of this novel, I have grasped a subject that contradicts my ego as a person. It is Aristotle's view towards women. He stated that a woman was an unfinished man. What he meant by this is that women are passive while men are active and productive. Aristotle's unacceptable sense was unfortunately adopted throughout the Middle Ages, rather than Plato's view that uplifts equality among sexes. But other than that, I don't have any more to say. How about you, Angelica? What is your critique and your evaluation to this book?
Sophie's World would bring you to another world of mystery and philosophy. Gardner brought his characters to life while explaining and teaching his readers about philosophy, which now made me think if all the characters that I read in books existed somewhere. I have a prejudice before reading this book. I thought this book would consist archaic terms or words and phrases that would be hard to understand, but I was proven wrong when I read the first few pages of the book. Although you need to read some parts repeatedly to understand its point, Gardner used simple words to describe what is happening in the book. Although the long lessons of Alberto Knox would make others impatient and tempted to skip some parts, but as you go along, you would be hooked up in the idea, which is also the plot twist of the story. What can you say about Gardner's novel, Lian?
Overall, the story was good. It opened my mind regarding philosophy, and the literature explained how we needed to study this course so we can attain our purpose in life, and how we needed to start doubting so we can gain knowledge about their existence. As my group mates before me stated about the book being lengthy, it was dreadful to read, yet it was worth my time. Next is Skirt. Please discuss your evaluation and critique.
Evaluation and critique to the book of Sophie's World is that the book is a great book that is trying to show us and make us understand where all things came from. It's a good example to show us and encourage us to ask more questions about life and to lead us to more answers to really what life is.
Proceeding to our insights, as I've mentioned it in my statements earlier, the book was a great read. Why? It gave me more food for thought and more philosophical insights that I could apply to my daily life. It dives into themes of existentialism and the argument if we need to exist and if the world around us is real, and if our identity is genuine and not fabricated. The book also shows a way of connecting the teachings of the philosophers of the past and to learn from every single one of them, whether you agree with them or not, while using other teachings as a means of getting more constructive opinions on the matters of philosophy. The final thing I would like to give insight on is the fact that Sophie and the Doctor were humanized in the end and given freedom of spirit to run the world, free from the author's mind. What are your insights, Bea?
My insight after reading this literature is that it is better to know that I know nothing than assuming that I know everything. This mindset is from Socrates and Descartes, who are philosophers with great contributions to the history of philosophy, yet declared that they knew nothing. This approach has made them very distinctive among philosophers. I think that if everyone embraced this idea, human discoveries will progress exceedingly. I have also realized that the history of conception is a matter of the people's reason in that particular period, and that a philosopher is neither right nor wrong, as every philosopher has their own style of reasoning. For example, is Plato, who has a very mythical style of philosophizing. In learning the antiquity of philosophy, it had taught me to have positive philosophical views, as it matters to what you believe in the end of the day.
Everything is revolving in philosophy. Sophie's daily routine was broken by three nonsense questions, which made her mind create a string of questions after questions. The book is full of information, as if Gordon also wanted to show and make his readers understand philosophy.
You cannot find out whether there is a God or whether there is life after death by looking in an encyclopedia, nor does the encyclopedia tell us how we ought to live. To obtain knowledge about our purpose in life, we have to start questioning and search for answers. Explore the world we live in and dig for information about their existence. We have to discover the truth with our own eyes and experience it on our own. This literature explains how we should start doubting so we can know more about their purpose in life and the truth about our existence. It also teaches us how we should live our lives better and live our lives meaningfully so we won't have to regret it in the end. What can you say, Kurt?
I can say that upon reading the book, it tells me that each one of us has answers within ourselves, since answers could lead us to more questions, but that is life. We will always face questions that we need to answer for us to know more about life.
Does everyone agree with me that the Sophie's world is philosophical?
I agree with you, Bea, but how can you say it is philosophical? I just want to hear your words for this one because for me, the literature was already philosophical from the first sentence to the last. Since the literature dealt with such matters such as existentialism, and the whole selling point of the book is creating a plan to escape from the world using the wisdom of philosophers.
It was apparent that the assigned literature is philosophical because the novel was almost considered a textbook of the history of philosophy, as it bears informative sections since the philosopher Albert Knox was educating Sophie about it. These two protagonists consider themselves as philosophers as they unite in gaining knowledge about their existence. In the end, philosophy has earned them their knowledge against Albert Knox's mind and manipulations.
How about you, Angelica? Why did you agree to?
The whole book screams philosophy. At the very first paragraph of the first chapter, Sophie's world already showed signs of philosophy by questioning the comparison of the importance of a person and the hardware. Sophie also mentioned the question of reality as she talks about some existential paradoxes that she experienced.
Yes, it is philosophical because it taught us that to attain the truth, you have to start doubting and search for answers along the way. As mentioned in the book, the best way of approaching philosophy is to ask a few philosophical questions.
I'm sure every one of us at some point would have asked those two questions in our lifetime. Invariably, some of us will choose to probe further relentlessly, leading to more questions.
Right. Do you guys still remember the chapter entitled The Top Hat? What Kurt said reminded me of the chapter.
Are you pertaining to the part where Knox said in his letters about a white rabbit that is pulled out of a top hat?
Yes, exactly. All mortals are born at the very tip of the rabbit's fine hairs. They become so comfortable that they never risk to crawl up the fragile hairs again.
Those who are true philosophers would be the ones to climb the rabbit's fur.
Last question. How do you see these insights compared to the insights of others in the group?
As I heard my group mates some insights, I am certain that all of us have obtained a deep understanding towards the Sophie's World novel. I think our insights are all on the same page, The wordings might be a bit different, but the essence of our answers corresponds to each other. Since this book very straightforward.
I think that we have explored all the objectives of this discussion.